We entered a 7-day game jam with the theme Nothing Can Go Wrong, and everything went wrong. We've literally come up with nothing.
Works fine for me, so gotta be something on
There
your
is
end.
literally no way it works okay on yours.
What in the heck is going on my screen right now? What did you do?
I don't even know. It's so broken.
Literally all the audio stuff I just spent an hour doing is gone. What just happened?
If we don't build it right now, if we publish it right now, it's not going in. I'm building it. It's building.
Just let me fix it. It's literally
going.
so broken. We can't push this right now. Just give me a second.
Hey, we're Vibe and Syntax, and we recently participated in Bracky's Game Jam 2025.1. This jam was 7 days long, which is longer than any of our previous jams.
In preparation for the jam, we stocked up on food, got ahead on schoolwork, and cut off everyone from our lives, as is customary, and then eagerly awaited the announcement of the theme.
Nothing can go wrong.
How about we make a game where something goes wrong?
I got it! Picture this. You're a bug that uses a nail to fight other bugs in a Metroidvania. We can call it Empty Night. For a whole day, we came up with nothing. We sat in a call brainstorming for several hours, throwing out concepts and game mechanics, but came up empty-handed. The main problem that we were running into is that things can go wrong in every game.
How do we make something unique that feels like things actually go wrong as part of the game mechanics, and not just that games don't go perfectly?
My vision was to give the player something that they could focus on doing and learning the mechanics of, and then having something random and unexpected happen. More issues would arise until suddenly, something drastic would go wrong, leading to a change in playstyle while using the same mechanics.
Along with that, I wanted the game to revolve around one core, satisfying mechanic that is enjoyable by itself. While that's not usually the way to go for big games, that gives us a strong foundation for a short game jam piece. Through all of our brainstorming, the main thing coming to mind was dragging and dropping. Having something snap satisfyingly into place is a tried and true mechanic, and thankfully it isn't too hard to implement. We put these two concepts together, and an idea started to emerge. What we got was a basic resource management game where you place buildings to generate resources. Slowly, things start feeling off and going wrong until BAM! Some sort of enemy attacks, and you need to start defending your base. Alright, with the main concept in place, there's some big core systems that we needed to be able to realize our idea. The big one is an event manager that scripts out the entire game's progression and handles what the player does. This is the special sauce that allows us to teach the player what to do and control what they are able to do as the story progresses. We have some carefully timed dialogue pop-ups and world events that expand the player's abilities, and then based on what they do with those events, the game will help them keep moving along. A big focus of this was first playthrough readability. Because Game Jam games get such short interactions, we wanted to make absolutely sure that players immediately fully understood what was going on and could be in control without a bulky tutorial.
In the meantime, I fleshed out the story. After the AI uprising and a huge war, robots finally completely exterminated humanity, leaving the world broken and desolate. Which is perfect! Now your robot empire can expand infinitely and take over the entirety of the planet. You start by placing some basic resource buildings when suddenly an alien walks out and sends up some sort of signal. You keep building and then another alien walks out and attacks one of your structures. More strange things happen, and then out of nowhere a huge alien ship appears and you get attacked by an alien army. The army attacks you from all sides, and you either place buildings that can attack or make some adjustments to the buildings that you already have to make them defensive. I didn't know which one yet. I put together the basic sprites for the buildings and designed some little robo guys to walk around and help the world to feel more alive. I made a multi-layered background and added a parallax effect, and then I designed the central building, which I decided to call the Omnicron!
And now we needed some actual game systems. First up was the building system. Because the main game interaction is dragging and dropping buildings from the menu, it had to feel good. We kept the UI simple and light and added some good chunky audio and visual feedback when you placed a building to get that sweet, sweet dopamine hit.
And then buildings could actually be used. To help with game readability, I made a shader that shows when the buildings can't be placed. And I made idle and startup animations for all of the buildings. Then I spent a huge amount of time animating the startup and idle animation of the Omnicron, but like, look at that. Oh, yeah, look at that spin. Sorry. I also gave the little robots some idle and move animations. At this point, the art for the main resource management related mechanics was done, and I needed to start working on the things that go wrong. which means making some aliens, baby. I designed 3 different variations of alien, and I started working on their attack, walking, and death animation. The 4-leg guy was giving me some trouble, so I took a break, but I'll definitely have time to come back to that later. Then I quickly made a flying guy as well.
The enemy system was an interesting challenge. It had to be easy to balance, accommodate a wide player skill range, and take less than a day to design and build. So I ended up with 2 enemy types that are actually exactly identical under the hood, just with a different sprite. One flies straight to the Omnicron, and the other attacks your ground buildings first. Once things go wrong and they start spawning en masse, it ramps up slowly.
Our original plan was to have the player lose if the Omnicron ran out of health. But who likes to lose? Nobody wants to die while playing a game jam game. They'll just move on to the next game. Games are most fun when you don't die. This is so much fun. I love this game. Oh, what the f***ing piece of son of a mother-f***ing bitch.
So we made it so that you can't actually lose, and instead the Omnicron's health just decreases less the lower it is.
So if the player loses all their buildings, then they're just soft-locked, banished to an eternity of near death, but never receiving freedom. I needed to make a building construction animation that had variable length so that as the player got upgrades to make their building time faster, it would still line up. So I separated the animation into 3 parts. The beginning and end play through once, but the middle part loops perfectly. So now instead of just playing the construction animation when a building is built, I can play the beginning animation and then just loop the middle one until the building is finished constructing, and then play the end one. At this point, our game was in need of UI, as well as some sort of tutorial. I designed mini versions of all the buildings,
Look how cute they are.
and then a frame that matches the futuristic robotic theme. I also made sprites for all of the different resources, and then added little +1 counters that pop up as the buildings generate. Then I started designing the character that explains how to play the game. Alright, we'll just finish a couple pixels here. We can do this outline, and then, yeah, that should be good. I think the stress was getting to me because my first attempts were awful. Eventually, I ended up with this guy, who I named Atlas, short for Advanced Tactical Logistics Automated System, which I never put anywhere in the game, but looks cool in our Miro board.
The UI consists of the dialogue pop-ups, the build menu, and the resource counters. The idea is that since we throw players right in without a pre-game tutorial, the UI needs to bear the burden of communicating all the game's important information. The dialogue pop-ups help to drip feed the player info about actions they need to do, while the build menu pop-ups show a lot of on-demand, important information about what each building is capable of.
At this point, I finished planning the entirety of the events and the flow of the game and laid it out in this big chain of digital sticky notes for syntax to actually implement in the game.
That entire system works by waiting for the player to hit a trigger, like placing a specific building or collecting a certain amount of a resource, at which point a few scripted events are fired off to lead the player to the next trigger they need to hit. That keeps things comfortably at the player's pace, but always moving forward.
Then I did some lighting and post-processing and got everything looking so nice. Holy frick, there's only 3 days left and we've only made half the game. The reality of our overscoping suddenly hit us in the face. We had done well making the teaching part of our original vision, but we hadn't got to what happens after things go wrong and the playstyle changes. We still needed to make an entirely different set of game mechanics, including damage and life systems and new buildings, a ton of additional art, and we also planned on adding a literal boss. I came up with a bunch of effects that the defensive versions of all the buildings could have, and then made sprites for them. Then I put together the most jank-looking transition animations of all time, and then made evil versions of all the backgrounds, including a huge friggin' spaceship that shows up. I also made all of the beams that are shot by buildings and enemies. I super quickly made a boss sprite and animations, then locked in and made literally dozens of sound effects and created 3 versions of the music, a normal version, a crazy minor sounding one for the alien invasion, and then an even more energetic one for the boss battle.
Meanwhile, I was grinding out the attack functionality of all the buildings. Some can only attack air, some can only attack ground, some attack both, some target friendly structures and increase their total health or heal them, some of them have cooldowns, and all of them need to cancel their previous effect and activate the new one when transitioned, and on top of it all, I didn't have time to add maximum ranges, so we ended up with a mess of lines going everywhere.
I made it so the boss could attack.
I made an actual win condition so the game would end.
I threw together a quick end screen.
Nothing would actually attack the boss at the end, so I made it so that every building would just auto-target the boss.
6 enemies dying and then just staying there and piling up.
I fixed some pop-ups randomly staying on screen.
The game would end and the boss would disappear, but the shooting sounds would keep playing, so I just disabled everything playing sound to stop
The
it.
UI was completely unusable on screen sizes other than ours, so I slapped a band-aid on it and called it good.
I went through the game, fixing sprites and animations and timings and generation amounts and health and a million other things to try to give our game some semblance of balance.
Then I suffered through progressively increasing build times.
And as the final seconds counted down,
We got everything
I
uploaded.
put some screenshots and crap, only 2 seconds, go!
Alright, let's do another one.
As we submitted our game, we victoriously walked out from the dumpster fire that it was and proudly displayed it for the world to see.
One of our favorite parts of game jams is the community aspect of it. Getting the chance to play other people's games was amazing, and there were some absolutely phenomenal ones that were super clever, breathtakingly beautiful, and incredibly fun.
It was amazing to see how creative people are, and it really showed us that you don't need to make something super complicated to make a great game. On top of that, our game was played and rated by a bunch of people as well.
We got comments from a ton of people who loved the game. There was a lot of praise for the first part of the game, which is very polished and feels super good, and feedback and criticism for the second phase.
And criticism was very fitting. It's okay, buddy, we still love you. The game does a terrible job informing the player of what they need to do, and the pacing is really off.
The player needs to click on buildings to transition them to defense mode, which is never told to them.
There's no way to know what the buildings do unless you look at the UI of each building, which nobody is gonna do during the stress and chaos of the second phase.
1 second everything was chill, and then they're just thrown in and told to upgrade a refinery, and they only have a single dark matter shard to do that with, unless they happen to kill more aliens.
Meaning that if they don't know that they're supposed to click on the building, or don't know which one a refinery is, or upgrade a different one by accident, then they're sent to the endless eternity of near death.
You also can't tell what the turret is shooting at, and the healing and attack beams just go all across your screen and look super janky. Yeah, it's rough.
Even with all of the flaws, we're super proud of what we made. We made essentially 2 different games and nailed the feel and mechanics that really counted. The story and flow is fun and people clearly enjoyed it. We recognize that we should have spent less time coming up with some crazy idea that was way out of our scope and instead just focused on making a good, high-quality game. And this really changed our perspective for future jams. It's more important to do something well, even if it means lowering our Wait, did you say that the results are out? Oh, how did we... What?
Out of over 2,000 game entries, ours somehow got 30th. That's the top 1.8429346%. We're so glad that people liked our game so much, and we never expected it to get ranked very highly, so this is huge for us.
If you want to try playing it yourself, the link is in the description. If you made it this far into the video, thank you for watching. This is the first full video on our channel, and we're planning on making so many more to cover future game jams, some game dev challenges, and potentially a bigger project of our own at some point.
So maybe subscribe, or don't.
Bye!